I think John sent me a fruit basket when I was starting, and the card on it, I opened it and I was like, oh, this is cool. It said, don't fuck it up.
So. I love when people do that right before your big moment. It's just like, ooh, but it makes you laugh and then you get into it. Welcome to Warner Brothers A Lot More podcast. I'm Jonathon Buckley, and our guest today is the head of the night shift. He's also a combat veteran. As Dr. Jack Abbot, he's won an Emmy for his performance. He's now directing episodes. Please welcome Shawn Hatosy. Shawn, thanks for joining us, mate. I'm excited to chat to you because as far as characters go within the Pit, I feel like Dr. Jack Abbot is the one that I'm so hungry to see more of. Is that a common response to your character?
I've been hearing that, yes. Yeah, I mean, I think because of the way he's crafted in season 1, you see him at the beginning, he's sort of handing things over to Dr. Robbie, and then he disappears, but he's kept alive through this letter that he writes about the veteran he lost. And then we find out that he helped the young teen who was needing an abortion. And so he's kept alive in this very interesting and fantastic way.
Yeah, kind of front of mind a little bit throughout the episodes that you're not even in.
Yeah, when he's not there, he's still there, which is a great thing to be. You know, even though you're not on the show, they're talking about you, right?
Occupying everybody's brainwaves. Obviously, you've been in the performance arts for a long time, 30 years, give or take. Is that fair to say?
Yes, I'm getting old.
Yeah, the real journeyman actor. You've been in everything. You've done so much. So when a show like The Pitt comes around, I know you have a relationship with John Wells, which I'd love to chat about in a second, but when a show like The Pitt comes around, did someone come to you directly and say, hey, we're doing a new medical drama, we'd love you to be a part of it, and then you make the decision?
Because of my relationship with John, I was aware that they were talking about doing The Pitt, and the production was going to start right after the writer's strike. So they put it out there, and they were starting to see actors. And because we were all so desperate to work, this was one of the only shows that was going right back into production after such a long time away.
And you'd had a bunch of time off as well.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
It's
and
tough.
It was rough. It was a rough time. Yeah. So the entertainment industry was aware, and of course, because of my relationship with John, I was interested, but there's not a lot of roles for somebody like me. And so I didn't know I was going to be involved until a couple weeks before they started, that John sent it to me and said, there's this role. And, he's not in a lot in the first episode, but we think he's going to have something to do later episodes. And of course, because it's John, it didn't matter what it was, I was going to be there. Yeah. The fact that it's The Pitt and it's like this groundbreaking new sort of format procedural was just a bonus. And I wasn't aware of what Abbott's role would really be. I had some idea, but I didn't know that he was going to come back in the way that he did and have such an impact. I was not sure what he was going to be doing, and thankfully they kept him alive throughout those episodes. The audiences, in many ways, because things fall apart that day, they're craving, and we're seeing a lot of these newcomers come in who are finding their footing, that when Abbott shows up, this sort of character who is very calm in the face of chaos, he almost does better work when there's this chaos happening around him.
Some people who are geared that way do well in those types of environments, those extreme environments, I think. Are you geared that way yourself? Do you work well under pressure?
I would say yes. Yep. My wife would say I'm not great.
Is that right?
We had this very conversation yesterday. Yeah. I think I am. I tend to if one of the kids gets hurt, I'm just sort of I walk slowly, and she's like, go get a band. She kind of yells at me to get moving. I'm not moving fast enough, but I believe that I am. But I've never really been tested in that.
Right, in an extreme way. You've never been put in a scenario where it's life or death.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Now, in terms of medicine, I am not qualified to put a Band-Aid on you. So I'm not. That's not my skill set.
Yeah.
Unlike Noah, who could probably do a thoracotomy right now.
Your intro to the series, well, both seasons really were quite powerful. And I think that you standing on that roof in that beginning, in that opening section was one of those moments that just drew everybody in. It was like, wait, what's going on with this guy?
Yeah.
Like, it's a pretty unique and powerful sort of opening to your character. Did you have strong feelings about that?
I did. I was thrust into it, like I said, without a lot of prep. Often as actors, we really want to know all the details of, what leads us up to this moment. We want to know what's at stake.
Yeah.
And we want to know what we want, like the character, what they want. So all of that is pretty well defined in the scene. In terms of all the backstory, like the logistics of, how he ended up losing his leg or what, his history with his, I didn't know all of it.
You like to do that kind of character work when you sink your teeth into a role?
I do. I think it's, it can be pretty important.
Yeah.
But then what I've learned through the Pit is it's not always necessary. If you have good writing, I didn't have any clue that when Abbot says, I'm not sure why I keep coming back here. That sort of is the question, sort of the theme of what Robbie is experiencing. And then we later learn at the end of the first season, after the mass casualty event, that Abbott's understanding of what his purpose is crystallized. And it's a mirror of what Robbie is experiencing.
So would you say you're kind of learning about Abbott as you go along a little bit?
A little bit.
A little bit?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm learning that a lot on the Pit, that not always having the answers can create magic.
Yeah, that's nice.
And as a director on the Pit, it's similar because I've directed a number of episodes of Animal Kingdom and another show that John did called Rescue High Surf. It's such a different animal, those shows, because you're doing exteriors, you have, maybe 20 locations, you're dealing with sunlight. There's all these different variables that come into play directing a show like that. Your prep is different. But with the Pit, because it's pretty much, 97% of it, my episode was in one location.
Yeah.
Your prep is so different, but you can't prepare the way that you normally would. It's not the kind of show that you're designing shot lists. You're not able to totally come up with a blocking beforehand because I don't know what the blocking is going to be because I'm inheriting what happened in episode 8. So, and they don't know and they don't tell you until you're there and you see it. So what I'm learning on the Pit is accepting what's in front of you and sort of being able to just go with the flow.
It is such a unique set. I've been lucky to tour the set and have a look around in there, and the way that it's shot and the grittiness of it. You mentioned you have directed before, Animal Kingdom, etc. But was it scary, intimidating to do a show? Because by the time you directed, was it episode 9 of season 2? Mm-hmm. By that stage, the Pit is a phenomenon. People are really in love with it. You have a huge fandom. Did you step into that and say, all right, this is really serious? I mean, not to say that the other shows are not, but that's like,
yes,
the Pit has a lot of eyeballs on it. Was it scary?
Very scary. Right. I think that as a director, I find that I'm always, I have a healthy amount of fear walking into it, no matter what. But yes, as you said, with a show like The Pit, coming off of such a beautiful response after season 1, and then literally, we won a bunch of awards and an Emmy for best drama, and I like a couple days later, the keys to the Maserati are handed to me, and it's like, don't crash it,
don't mess up.
So it's terrifying, but I think a healthy amount of fear, it really keeps you focused. And I'm a guy that likes to be prepared, but there's only so much preparation you can do on a show like this. The shooting style is such that we're following the action, so it took me like a day to really understand, even though I watched them all and saw how they do it, it's as you're kind of choreographing it and coming up with the plan, you have to adjust and understand the way things go. I think John sent me a fruit basket when I was starting, and the card on it, I opened it and I was like, oh, this is cool. It said, don't fuck it up. So.
I love when people do that right before your big moment. It's just like, ooh, but it makes you laugh and then you get into it.
It did. And it's such a great cast, a wonderful crew. Episodic television is a very collaborative form of art. And this team of creatives that are working together in sync to create this magical atmosphere, this world that we're stepping into. Everybody's just so great at what they do. And as a director, you're really not trying to get in the way of any of that. You're just trying to set it up so that we can just do what we do and try to make it feel as spontaneous, because even though it is chaos, it can start to feel, like you're trying to orchestrate it. And that's the goal, is to really make it feel like it's just happening.
I wanted to just rewind a little bit and go back to, do you remember when the spark kind of ignited for your passion to do this?
I do. I remember, it's going to sound silly, but my parents took me to Atlantic City. I'm from Maryland, and they like to go to Atlantic City. I wonder why, back then. There was probably some healthy gambling and maybe unhealthy. And anyways, we went, my sister and I went one time with them, and I was 10, 11 or something, and they got tickets to a show. Yeah. And it was Shawn Hatosy, which is, do you know what that is?
It rings a bell.
Yeah.
You'd have to.
And so it was the most, I mean, I'm not disparaging it. I barely remember it, but I remember seeing Bowser singing something up there and just kind of the response to it. And I said to my mom, I would like to try something like that at that time. Yeah. And the next time I went back to school, she enrolled me in chorus or something. And because as a kid from Maryland, there's not a lot of ways in, there's not a lot of what I was seeing in terms of theater and art and film.
There's a school musicals that you could do.
That's the only thing.
That was it.
That was literally it. That was the only thing that you could try to do to find a way as a young actor, or I wasn't a good singer, wasn't a good dancer, really wanted to be an actor.
I thought you were in a band. Didn't you have a band?
I was in a band. I wasn't a very good singer. Okay. You can get away with it. You know what I mean, in a rock and roll band. I mean, I thought I could get away with it. Clearly I'm sitting here as the actor, not the singer.
That was where your strengths lay. Yeah.
So that's sort of how I started, as a young guy, and I really enjoyed kind of what we're talking about here, the collaboration, sort of taking this idea on paper, and then by the end of it, you have this big production, and you spend a lot of time with people, and you connect, and you're trying to, make something. So that's what sort of really got me into it.
Drew you into it. Do you remember the first time you got paid for it?
I was doing these performances. I did some community theater, and then there was another kid who grew up around me who had an agent, because DC and Baltimore were kind of close by. So there was some small market stuff happening, like public television, industrial films, little things. And so this kid was in a commercial, and he lived in my neighborhood, and my mom talked to his mom, and she introduced us to this kid's manager. And so I started as a young age, auditioning. And I think the first thing I got paid for, I was like an extra. As I did some extra work, because that's, there were always films coming through Baltimore or DC, and they would need, whatever.
It's a good way to get eyes on how it all worked.
Oh, it was great.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was an extra in Avalon, which is a Barry Levinson movie, and there was True Lies. Which was so I was an extra in that. The first work was
massive.
Actually background work. Yeah,
Arnold Schwarzenegger on set.
Yeah, it was cool. I know, it was wild.
Yeah, and then you just kind of kept on trucking.
Kept trucking, and I would do little stuff. Nothing major was happening for me at that time. But then I was auditioning. I was getting chances to audition. There would be the occasional train trip to New York, and go in and audition. I auditioned for Clarissa Explains It All, which was a big show. Melissa Joan Hart when I was a teenager. And then there's a show called Homicide, which was shooting in Baltimore. Yep. I got a guest star on Homicide.
And you're off to the races.
And then I was off to the races.
Yeah. It's so cool. And Animal Kingdom, which is so beloved, and your character Pope, You guys are about to hit a 10-year anniversary here at some point, aren't you? It's like since it began.
That's what I'm hearing.
Yeah. Are you planning anything? Is
I'm going to take all my clothes off. I'm going to go stand by the pool and howl at the moon. Yeah.
Yeah. Because I feel like there's a whole new audience is being found now that it's on streaming.
Yes.
How has that been?
It's been awesome.
Yeah.
I'm really happy that people are finding. I was so proud of that show.
Yeah.
And I even went back and watched when it started streaming on Netflix. I watched the first season. And
you did?
Yeah.
How did it feel rewatching?
I haven't. I really enjoyed it.
Yeah.
Just going, obviously, the work, but then just going back in time and seeing how it was, because how it ends, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you're so in it that you forget how the sort of the layering of the characters begins. And I think it holds up. I'm really excited that people are finding it. I also love how the brand new eyeballs that are finding it respond to Pope at first, because he's just so he's so disturbing, and it's just that he's an uncomfortable character.
Yeah.
And I'll see people talking about it, and they'll say, well, just give it some time, because he really does. He shows up in an unexpected way throughout, as we get towards the end, he becomes this, kind of like the emotional center.
Having that distance, I imagine, just that separation from when you were in it and doing the work, and then being able to just sort of watch it with not fresh eyes, but somewhat fresh eyes. I feel like you'd be seeing a lot of different stuff. It's
wild that show, the pilot of that show, is really strong. And TNT at the time was, I was fortunate to be on a show called Southland, which was on TNT, which started on NBC, moved to TNT. But at the time, the kinds of shows that they were making were like The Closer and Rizzoli and Isles, and this was a risk. The Animal Kingdom, the movie, such a lovely, dark, obviously gripping, family crime situation, which I'm sure because it's from Australia. I was really pleased with how Jonathan Lisco kind of took that and created this, very similar, to the film, but it made it its own thing. And for TNT to kind of take that risk and put it out there, yeah, man, it was wild.
Yeah. And to tell a whole story too in an age where not all series get closure.
Yeah.
Is nice.
Sure.
That wasn't your first foray with John Wells, though, was it? That was back in ER?
Yeah. So the first time I met John was for ER.
Yeah.
Sometime around 2006 or 7, like that, something around there. I was asked to audition for a guest star on ER. And at the time, I was really my mindset was like film. And I had been doing film and not a lot of episodic television. So it was something that came across, and I was like, I don't know if this is what I should be doing. And my manager then was like, well, John doesn't direct a lot of the ERs. So if he's directing, it means, they're all good, but this one is usually the special one.
Particularly good episode.
So I read it, and the character has multiple personalities, dissociative identity disorder. And it was a really strong character and a fantastic episode.
Yeah.
And so I was like, oh, well, absolutely, I'll go in and meet on that. And I walked into Warner Brothers, wherever he was, over at the bungalow, like over there somewhere, and met him for the first time. And man, I'm glad I made the decision to go in that room.
Yeah, I bet.
Because, as an actor, you kind of do, like you said, 30 years, there's ebbs and flows, there's writer strikes, there's low points, there's the high points. And I think this particular time in my life, it was at one of those sort of, flatline moments. And, when I talk to young actors who ask questions of like, what do you do? How do you just never know what room you're going to go into. Yeah. You never know how that meeting can affect, your whole trajectory. I'm really glad I went in that room.
And he really, of so many people that we've met here, he nurtures talent, I feel like, and sticks with people that he finds to be good and talented and quality like yourself? Because how many different projects have you worked on with John now?
5.
5.
Yeah. So ER, Southland,
Yeah.
Animal Kingdom, Rescue High Surf,
Yeah.
and then the Pitt. And so many other ways, when I started to express my desire to direct, and that started around Southland, which was soon after ER. So I did a guest star in ER. A couple years later, Southland showed up. It was an NBC show. I was very fortunate to be a part of that. Regina King, who was an actress on the show, directed an episode, and the rest of the cast started, leaning in and whispering into the executive producers' ear, like, we would like that opportunity. And then Animal Kingdom later came, and I kept that whispering going. And John was pretty clear, like, that if you're serious about it, like, there are things that you have to do to show me that you're serious about it. You're not just looking. Yeah, I'm not just going to hand you an episode.
What kind of things? I'm actually curious.
The main thing was shadowing, but it's not like, oh, come hang out on set. Like, it's going through the whole pre-production process, which is a lot. I was fortunate to shadow John through an Animal Kingdom. So it's like that 8 days in a van doing the scouting, sitting through the concept meeting, sitting through the tone meeting, sitting in the casting behind John, watching him make his decisions. Then obviously you get the production part. And thankfully he allowed me to sit in the editing room and watch that part of it because there are so many different elements to,
Did you enjoy all of that? So you got in and you were like, it reaffirmed your desire to continue down that path?
Oh, absolutely.
Right.
Anyway, because it was John and Chris Chulak, who was on Southland and Animal Kingdom.
Best mentors you can have.
It's really, having received their direction as an actor, I know what that feels like, and I know how it makes me feel. But being able to watch them work with other actors and sort of understand their decision-making process, it was so helpful. But it wasn't just like you're going to do this twice. Like, I did it for years. Yeah. Like, I followed Chris around on so many episodes of Southland when he would let me, and then John through Animal Kingdom a couple times, and then another director, Larry Tang, who was on Animal Kingdom. He's a great director. That's the part that he really wants to make sure. Because you asked the question, did I enjoy it? Yes, I enjoyed it, but it's also pretty boring at times because you're sitting in vans, driving out to Castaic or wherever. It's a lot of work.
Is it something that you'd like to transition more into? Like, obviously, I get you still enjoy the acting part of it, but is that something that you'd see yourself transitioning further into as you progress through your career?
Yeah, I think that it's something that I think I'm good at it. Yep. I think I just really enjoy inspiring people in the work, and I know what it feels like to not be inspired in the work because as actors, we work with a lot of different directors. I find the actors director, because I'm an actor.
Yeah.
I find the actors directors understand something about what you're experiencing in a different way than maybe somebody that came through it as an editor or something or a DP. There's a language that we speak as actors, and everybody has their own different style. I do enjoy it. I'm very lucky this season on The Pitt. I'm going to be able to direct an episode that I'm not acting in, which is
interesting,
really cool.
So
I've
this
never
has
done
been
that
decided
before.
in the third season. You'll be directing again.
Yes.
That is very, very, very cool.
I've only directed episodes that I've also appeared in as an actor, so it's going to be nice to. How
is it directing yourself? Are you hard on yourself?
I don't know if I'm hard on myself. I don't know. I find with Dr. Abbot, because the language and the medical is. It takes a minute to get into it, especially for me. Doesn't come as naturally as it might come to some of the others. So I give myself another take. I can give myself. I'm allowed
just a couple extras. I'm just going to do one for safety.
Let's do one more of those.
Now you're, of course, an Emmy award-winning actor, which, as we've just established throughout this podcast so far, you've worked on countless shows over the years. How does it feel at this stage of your career, standing up and getting that Emmy?
It's all been such an emotional and overwhelming experience, really, to stand on stage and receive an Emmy from Ron Howard, of all people, somebody who I grew up, watching on television, and then later on following his films and his career and how he's sort of pivoted and It's such a strange thing to, if you go back to what we first talked about, which is how did I become involved in the Pit? It just happened, very last minute, not a lot of prep. If you had looked at me when I was that little boy who was sitting in the audience of in Atlantic City watching Shawn and Abbot, when I'm 50, I'm going to have this kind of very cool moment. Not when you're 30, by the way, or like 25. It's going to happen at 50. I would have been very shocked, but I would have said, sign me up, because it's been, it's been really a remarkable time. I'm so excited about the opportunities I'm getting. I really am enjoying hearing from actors, other artists who are still figuring out what to do and where to go and whether or not they should give up.
Yeah. It's challenging out there.
And then you see something like this happen to somebody who has been around, and it does mean something to them, because it still means it can happen for them.
It's keep the dream alive somewhat. Was that hard to not cry? I feel like it would have been too challenging.
Yeah, it was. I was very emotional up there. Yeah, I kind of did cry a little bit when I got to my wife,
which I thought was beautiful, by the way. Your speech was lovely. The fact that you thanked John Wells, but also acknowledged your wife's. Was it sacrifices that the word that you used?
That is the right word.
It is a challenge for your partner in this in the industry.
It's been like a whirlwind 2 years, and going from the Pit, and I was working on Chicago PD at the same time, and then coming back and doing the Pit, and then finishing the Pit. I went off and did a movie, and I was working on another show, and then now Cry Wolf, and then the Pit, and then sort of campaigning for, during the awards season and all the press that goes along with that. It has been like, where is he? He's absent. And when he is here, his mind is on the work, and it's very stressful, and it's so it's a massive sacrifice to sort of take the reins at home and do all the drop-offs and pickups and make sure the food is there. And so it is a team effort.
And you managed to fold her into the storyline as well, which is lovely. That was really cool. Nice. I did hear that you were coming from a table read for season 3. Obviously, I'm not going to ask for any information about what's going to happen. People are hungry to know what's going to happen. What's the general vibe of the room right now?
I mean, the room was buzzing. There were a lot of people in the room.
Has that grown season by season?
Yeah, in the room than I've ever seen before.
Yeah.
We're getting a lot more eyeballs in that room.
Yeah.
I guess I understand why. I mean, it's very exciting. I think this first episode is maybe a little unexpected. How it plays out.
When we spoke to Scott Gemmell in this chair here, he said he didn't want to, I don't want to misquote him, but wanted to break expectations, let's say, not get too formulaic with the series, so that expecting one big moment to happen, let's say, like in the first season.
Yes.
So surprising is the vibe in the room.
It is 15 episodes, right? So without some sort of massive event like the mass casualty, it becomes a challenge to understand how we get through those 15 hours in a way that makes sense, So those writers are brilliant, though. They're gonna keep figuring out how to keep us guessing.
It's a big and very talented team of writers, and I know that people are hungry, and you probably get people bring this up all the time. But the night shift, and I was bringing this up just before we came on air. The shift could start at any hour, really. I feel like if it's a 24-hour day, who's to say that we don't get a little extra night shift? I don't know anything. I'm just saying.
I would agree with that. And who's to say that it can't? When the day shift ends, that we can't keep moving on into the night, to see what goes on. I mean,
has life changed a little bit for you since the Pit has come up?
Yes. Yeah. The calls that I'm getting, and the opportunities and the things that I'm reading, and just generally out in the world, it's definitely different.
I feel it's an exciting time.
It's pretty cool.
Yeah. Shawn, thanks so much for coming to chat with us. Can't wait for season 3.
Oh, thank you very much.
Cheers, Shawn.
All right, take care,
man.
man.